Get your podcast license out a little bit of that.
You're right.
You need a podcast license?
Or caucasity, as Chris was just saying before we turned the microphone on, and I wanted
just
to
hand it
make sure.
out to middle-aged white guys.
Everything gets handed out to middle-aged white guys. That's kind of where we're at. On the Jaunty Mantis podcast, a podcast of creative questions for curious gamers. Hello out there in podcast land and YouTube land. I'm Jesse.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Chris.
And together we form the Jaunty Mantis. Where tonight's question is, what is the point of a role-playing game? But before we get into that, because this is a fun one. I'm excited about it. This is the one lost episode where Maddie asked me this question like 2 years ago, and he phrased it as someone at a party had said that to him, and I was so wrongfully insulted on his behalf because Matt was not mad about it that I was like, I actually got mad, and we agreed to stop that recording and put it into the archives, never to be released. But now enough time has passed.
Right. I hope, put it in the archives, he means deleted it.
Yes, that's the archive. Deleted. I hope enough time has passed that we can approach this with maturity and ungovern our cylinders a little bit to talk about this topic. But before we do that...
Whoa, what the hell is that?
Oh, that's your Christmas present. Why I asked for your address that Chris just spoiled. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, you didn't have to tell him that part. Surprise. Merry Christmas.
Perfect.
Merry Christmas. God bless us, everyone. Hey, Chris.
That's fantastic.
Yo.
Other than ungoverning your cylinder and resting your bourbon upon that that coaster, what have you been up to in RPGs this week?
Sunday we played our second Goblin session of what I suspect will be 3.
Dick noses.
Yep, they completed their night-long trek of gathering supplies in the forest and made it back, and now they must prepare for the gifting ceremony. So it's a little group project. They have to do a little presentation and see what the Goblin Queen thinks. It has a fun mechanism wherein you roll to see what kind of things the Goblin Queen likes. There's like color, shape, and a third property. And so as they gather clues and gather items, you kind of randomly or just based on what they get, assign values to it. And they're trying to suss out what she's into.
Like most group projects, did one of the goblins do the majority of the work while the other ones just screwed around?
You know, I got to say the teamwork has been delightful. We introduced 2 new goblins from players that had missed sessions and just kind of gave them some random items and said the trauma of watching their original party get devoured by, it was ants that looked like a celebrity, but I can't remember which one. Oh, Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey ate their party. Don't ask me how that happened. You know, gets crazy. Brunch time.
All right. Do you got a goblin to chew on? It'd be a lot cooler if you did. Oh, the reconnaissance. I'm a fan of the reconnaissance. I wish there was a reconnaissance role-playing game where you could just be like skinny, strung out Matthew McConaughey. Grant Howitt, if you listen to the show.
I was going to say that's probably in the back of that Grant Howitt book I have.
Yeah, he can probably do it. She's got Sean Beanquest, Jason Statham's Big Vacation, and then reconnaissance, hopefully. Or we could do it.
I was going to say, if not him.
Yeah. What a novel idea.
Well, Maddie, I got to be part of it. Well, part of it. What have you been up to in role-playing games?
We had the big fight at the conclusion of our penultimate session of our Rifts Chaos Earth, a complete role-playing game session, which we fought some demons, and there was a congregation who was protecting their couch fucker of a pastor who had been killed by a party member. And my character is the only person who's not protected by an immense amount of body armor or mech suits. So I just picture my character who is a demon hunter or a witch hunter or both or neither or whatever, He's just constantly hiding behind Jesse's character's giant mech legs, like a toddler. That's the way I described it. He's like just wrapped around his leg like a toddler. And then every time Jesse moves, he just moves with him. I got mixed up a little bit. I thought we were killing all the demons, the demon hunter part of me. So I started shooting the demons that were helping us as opposed to the demons that were hiding in the china cabinets trying to kill us. And but the day prevailed, and we did what we set out to do. And I'm excited to see what happens next. Still haven't leveled up, but I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, level 3, I think you actually start getting like bonuses to hit and stuff. Not that will matter for our last session. So
I'm intrigued by a combat that features both giant mechs and china cabinets.
Did I describe that properly, Jesse?
I don't think so, but I like it.
Okay.
So I'm going to rewrite my perceived notion of what happened with it was a china cabinet full of these guys.
Hell yeah.
There is a demon in the Creatures of Chaos source book, or maybe in the core book of Chaos Earth, that is called the Heckler. And they are kind of like it's the bone spider from your game all over again.
Hell yeah.
Except they're solid black, and they are about the size of a dinner plate. And Patrick is seized on that and keeps calling them dinner plates. And so when they all combined to make it more of a challenge for me, the guy in the big mech suit, he said it's now a china cabinet sized because dinner plates. It was a riff on that, but I don't think it was a china cabinet full of demons. I think the demons combined were the size of a china cabinet with all the dinner plates stacked up.
Gotcha.
But the two highlights for me for that game last night was when Yoder, who I just realized now is an Amish cyborg, might be a Rick and Morty bit because literally an Amish cyborg, threw a plasma grenade at the demons that we were up close and personal with. And I got to narrate turning around to shelter you with my mech suit. I actually turned on Whitney Houston singing I Will Always Love You on my computer on my end as I did that. And then the other one is when I got hit for 160 mega damage in one hit. And my thought reaction was, oh no, a fair fight. So,
I love that you were listening to the song. What is our policy about music and the Jaunty Mantis? Because right now I'm choosing songs to play during the battle sequences for my up and coming vignette games or my 3 to 5 session D&D games. And I fully intend to use this music and just play it while we're in the fights. But like, Chris, do you use music in your games?
I have been a subscriber to Sirenscape for a long time, and it has music for a lot of the sound sets. But if I don't have something handy there, or if there's a song I want to highlight, I will play music as needed. For this Goblins thing, I just asked Google to play some, magical forest ambiance. But every time the giant undead kraken from the long D&D campaign came up, there was a particular Death Clock song.
Nice.
From the Metalocalypse TV show I'd put on. That was fun.
Is it the one about the troll moose to Krakish?
Yes. I did also, when they played their merkins, which they're undersea mermaider people.
Mermaider.
I was tempted. I couldn't have done it on the YouTube video because we would have gotten flagged for that. But on the audio only podcast version, I was very tempted to end that episode where you talked about the merkin with Mermaider. I was this close to doing it, but I was like, what's the point? Like, you make the reference so early in the episode that people would be like, why is this playing at the end?
Right.
So
just be for the real mantis heads.
Well, with no knowledge of the law, it seems like on 60 songs that explain the 90s, if you play less than 10 seconds of the clip, it might count as fair use.
I've heard people claim that.
Might.
I can't battle the YouTube algorithm that would strike us down, but YouTube's algorithm, if you strike us down, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
I don't think it works that way, but I like it.
No, I was just hoping.
Since a reference I haven't felt in years.
I mean, speaking of Star Wars references, like Maddie here named his kid after famed Star Wars character Sherm Scissor Punch. So
that's
right.
right.
Grab arm lock?
No, Sherm Scissor Punch. He's one of the dudes in Drayden Voss's ship in Solo, a Star Wars story. He looks like a mantis shrimp with a tentacle face, and he makes everyone call him Sherm Scissor Punch.
Can't believe I forgot any names from that movie.
Why would that be?
I actually enjoyed that movie up until the last act when they're like, oh, we better tie this into the rebellion.
Yeah.
The Skywalkers and everything else.
There are some moments of that movie that I do really appreciate. I know a lot of people were really tough on that movie before it came out because they're like, there was a rumor going around or leaked information that they had to bring an acting coach on for what's his face, or I don't remember the actor's name, who's playing Han Solo, and everybody was really put off. And I was like, that makes sense. He has to act like a young Harrison Ford playing Han Solo. Yeah. I would appreciate having an acting coach to help me really nail that. So it didn't bother me, but there's a lot of that movie I really like, and there's a lot of that movie I really don't. But Sherm Scissor Punch was not one of them. I'm a Sherm Scissor Punch fan, so much that I named my firstborn after them. And there you have it.
I just want 3 more movies with Lando played by Donald Glover.
I know, right? He was so good at that. So good.
I will admit I was really excited by the hologram of Darth Maul there at the end. But I also speeder chases in Star Wars. This is not our topic. This is not what I've been doing.
No, this is why you should play role-playing
games. You didn't pay for this, people. So, the speeder chase felt really slow. And I also felt the same way about the mods speeder chase in Book of Boba Fett. And I just don't know. I don't know what's going on with Skywalker Studio or whatever, Skywalker, these guys are world famous for special effects, and they can't make a speeder chase feel kinetic. And I'm like, that's so weird.
They forgot to tell you that all of those speeders in the scenes that you're referencing were accidentally in energy saving mode.
Oh.
Therefore, do not go above a certain speed. Either that or they stole them from old people in Star Wars. What are those things called? Ramblers?
Yeah.
Drive them around the grocery store?
One of those was Sherm Scissor Punch's Rambler. I'm pretty sure.
Hey, and if you love Darth Maul at the end of Solo, get ready for a Darth Maul animated series coming up all about how he's gonna do a crime lord thing.
Cool. I want to watch that. I'm excited. Yeah. But that's not what I've been doing in role playing. I ran the vampire game this last week.
Oh, how'd it go?
Vampire and Adolescence. Really fun. Content warning: harm to animals. So yeah, Hillary, the Mormon housewife who is now a Nosferatu Diablerist, whirlwind of strength, destruction, and horror, got goaded into seeing if she could lift a car in the backyard of the overgrown, creepy rundown vampire mansion they live in. And she was. And so she started doing it, and she starts making rouse checks to use blood to make herself stronger so she can lift this car to impress another character in the coterie. And she starts burning through hunger dice. So for those of you who don't know, I've explained this hunger dice mechanic a couple times on the podcast. It basically makes it you roll your same number of dice, but some of them are hunger dice, and that can have consequences depending on what comes up with them. So she basically rages out on hunger. She gets a bestial critical after she hears a dog barking on the other side of the fence when she's really hungry. And her predator type is farmer, so she feeds on animals.
Oh.
So I got to narrate the whole coterie is in the backyard with her goading her on, or up on the second floor, looking down towards the huge overgrown pile of weeds along the back fence line. So I got to describe the sound of what they heard instead of what they saw, which was the sound of an aluminum pole being folded in half, a tree crackling, a panicked yelp, a rip, and a splash. So yeah, it was really
perfect.
Fun. And then they went to a dinner meeting at a nice restaurant after she got cleaned up from that. And that was also fun because Tempest, the ministry vampire, her sire was there, and she is actually the nemesis of that player character. Like they hate each other. So my whole drive home, I'm like making audio notes on my phone of super shitty catty things that the nemesis can say to this character, like who is an OnlyFans model, and that's part of how she hunts. She has a cult, like a blood cult that she's built through OnlyFans. So yeah, it was it was really fun that I just had this list in my head of like, oh, darling, like if you spent as much time on your wit as you did your camera angles, you might say something actually interesting. And it was really fun to like drop those bombs. And it was a social combat, and I won. So I hadn't done the social combat in Vampire 5, and it was fun to do it. It worked pretty well, and it was devastating. So
that's awesome. When you brought up OnlyFans, it reminded me of that classic hardcore server, WoW server guild called OnlyFangs. Which I think would be a perfect addition to that. But I love that. That's perfect. How does sires work in Vampire? Like, do they have control over their progeny, or like how's that work?
Is it True Blood rules?
Yeah,
It depends on what faction they're in. Typically, in the Camarilla faction, like you are responsible for what your child does until you formally release them. So if they fuck up, you just fucked up. So they tend to keep a pretty tight, leash on them and not let them out in public a lot. And that's actually usually what poisons the relationship between most sires and their child, or is that like, I can't let you show your whole ass because it's my whole ass showing. The anarchs tend to be a little bit more free form. We rolled on this table in the Crimson Gutter, so almost everybody's is an accidental embrace or like a revenge embrace where none of the player characters got embraced because their sire like thought they were cool or useful. Like, except maybe Dylan, who was like crushed repairing a yacht for this vampire who loved him. So now there's a whole bunch of like, my beautiful boat boy, I could not let you die. Yeah, so he might have been embraced for that reason, but yeah, like the other Nosferatu was like embraced as a terror tactic or something. The Tremere was embraced like as a revenge tool against somebody. And she just met her sire, who is Camarilla, who was like, oh shit, there's a bunch of other vampires here. Let me have a quiet talk with you in an aside. I did not expect you to live. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
So there's some NPCs who might be on the hook, and I think the PCs are starting to figure that out and play into it. Tempest made a move to try and humiliate her sire with that information in front of a Camarilla vampire, but that vampire was like, well, she's not in the tower, so I mean, it's trashy. She's trash, but she's an anarch. That's what you'd expect. So yeah. That's kind of, it depends on the faction, depends on the NPC. Everything in Vampire is cult of personality and depends on what you can get away with. So
wow. This game sounds awesome. Hats, all the hats to you, Jesse.
It's really fun. And now I'm in my head starting to cook on another White Wolf World of Darkness game, because Friday night I remembered that in 2014, I bought a bundle of holding of Mage the Awakening 2nd edition books. And so I know I've told both of you this already independently. So people out there in podcast land, Friday night, I sat on my couch listening to vinyl albums, reading Mage the Ascension books, and drinking absinthe.
That's so wizard.
That is, I am proud of the levels of pretense I can rise to when I try. It's a whole thing.
I love it.
You know what else is a whole thing, though?
What's that?
Role-playing games. What's the point of them?
Oh, boy. Are you going to behave yourself this time, Jesse?
Well, I'm not mad this time because I'm not offended on your behalf. So, yes, I'll try. Wow, he's really holding that pose. Or he froze. Chris, What's the point of a role-playing game? Here's my bad faith question while Maddie's internet catches up. Why not just write a novel?
Oh man, that's a lot of work. But with a role playing game, I can just think of something and then say it out loud to my friends, and then they have to think of it, and they're
Okay.
like obligated to talk back to me and hang out with me and be my friends.
They're obligated to hang out with you.
Listen, let's not look into that. It's fine.
No, I mean, like, I
My
think
therapist would say it's fine if I said that, probably.
honestly, for me, I think part of it is I like this. I'm the host now. Chris,
Nice.
look at me. I'm the host now.
I could
part
think
of
of
it-
Tom Hanks' character from that movie.
I haven't
check.
even seen that movie, just that scene.
I don't know that anybody has.
That scene is why I play role-playing games.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, I think different stages of our lives, they have different meaning. We talked in our oral histories about our personal entry points. Mine was, hey, this is a cool thing where I get to think about dragons and knights and stuff I already thought was cool when I started. Obviously, it's changed over time. Do you think does it differ for you? I know you now prefer DMing a lot. A lot more than being as a player, but like, what's the point of DMing for you?
I mean, that was my intro, was DMing, and I was only a player occasionally for the most part for years and years. But man, it's just fun to think of cool things or read about cool things and then show them to your friends and then engage in a narrative storytelling fashion about those cool things, you know?
Mm-hmm. I do know because I do it as well.
Goblins.
Weird goblins and dragons. That's kind of why we do it.
That's all you need.
So do you feel, I mean, it's weird to ask this question. I don't think from a DM perspective, this makes much sense. And I know I've said things on the podcast tonight where I said, oh, I won for a contest with players. But like, for me personally, I don't think it's like a power fantasy for why I run games. Because, you have, as I keep reading in these new Palladium books I've got, an unlimited budget for your studio, your movie effects. But from a player perspective, do you think power fantasy is part of the reason why people do it?
I think power fantasy is kind of underselling it, making it banal.
How so?
I think group storytelling and storytelling in general is a like ancient human thing, going back to when our species could first communicate. So modern life doesn't give us a lot of excuses or opportunities to do that, especially as, mega corporations buy up everything that falls into the storytelling and entertainment categories and mass produces it for us and tells us what to like and just generally rubs all the sharp, interesting edges off of stuff. So when you can get together with your friends and take on the role of another entity, that's like many ancient cultures putting on masks and telling stories or dancing, etc., around a fire. This, and also if you've never played an RPG around a fire, it's fun, very distracting but fun. It's just a great excuse to try on different perspectives. It's one of the great things about reading books or any media really, where you get to imagine someone else's point of view, but actually taking the opportunity to inhabit that, and even if it's on a surface level, I think is an exciting opportunity to think new and different thoughts or old thoughts in a different way.
That's interesting. Can I push back just a little? Do you think it's the same as storytelling?
It is a form of storytelling. It's a group collaborative storytelling enterprise, right?
Like, and I know I'm not saying this is necessarily because of the group or the collaborative nature of it. Which is a thing I really like. I'm just saying, like, I'm reminded of something when Jared Sorensen was on the show and he was talking, I can't remember if it was during the episode or after, he was talking about like the magic circle that we all enter into when we play a role-playing game, that someone outside the circle, you can't really communicate that experience to. And I feel
do it
like
all the time against their will. They
Well, I
have to
mean,
ride
does it
around with me
make
at work. So
that's the point? Does it make sense to someone who wasn't there when we think about the stories we're telling together during a role playing game? Like, I feel like it might actually exist in a secondary category to the stories that, you know, you tell in a community to keep that community together, right? Stories a community tells around a fire, it's myth making, it's like these are our beliefs, these are our values, it unifies them. Do you think RPGs do the same thing?
absolutely. I think throughout history, it's only recently that stories were. Welcome back, Maddie, by the way. Sorry about the power outage.
Thank you.
We were just talking about the ancient art of storytelling and whether or not RPGs really fall into that or not.
Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No,
Finish your
yeah, I
thought.
say yes. Stories being repeatable and the same every time and fixed is a relatively new development, right? Throughout history, every time a story was told, it developed. Even if it was the same storyteller, it's going to be spun slightly different for the audience or the moment that the group is going through, you know, or the new environment for the storyteller if they're in a new place. So if we craft a story together in a session or multiple sessions of a role playing game and then you tell someone about it, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to modify it for the situation. You're going to think about your audience and the amount of time you have to relate things that they may or may not be interested in. It's good to check first and then let them tell a story back, ideally. But yeah, it's always constantly changing. And, you know, man, do I have to be less mad at Lucas for changing Star Wars now? Shoot.
There's always a reason to be upset at George Lucas. Just ask
True.
the internet.
Yeah, well, you can't be too mad at him because, after all, you did name your son after a character that he played in the movie Baron Papanoida of Pantorum.
It was
That's what I'm
Jack
saying.
Glebo, I thought.
We had started this leg of the conversation, Maddie, about talking about like a power fantasy, and I hadn't really like is playing because I was starting to divide it into like the game mother perspective versus the player perspective, and I think there's definitely game mothers out there who do have a power fantasy when they're running games. I don't think that's us.
Why would you think that?
Why do I not think it's us?
Yeah.
Because
What are the qualifications for a power hungry GM?
I mean, a power. I said this earlier too. I know I described winning in a dice roll against a player like not 20 minutes ago. Like, I mean, we've all had punitive DMs, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like the ones who are just like, this is my story in my world, and you're going to do what I want. And if you don't, your characters are going to suffer consequences. And to me, that's I don't know if they're doing it as a call to power, but it certainly, when you're at the other end of the table, feels like it's a reach for power and possibly a power fantasy of them. You know, all the talk and back in the days about like, make sure you bring pizza for your game master and the game master is God and blah, blah, blah. Like that's maybe an
The
unhealthy
hobby
way.
and all of us were immature at one time, but
True.
at this point, there's lots of opportunities to discover better ways to be. To me, the win condition is, are my friends here and are we having a good time?
Yeah, but I think there's a way to have a game be a power fantasy where you're not taking power or agency from the other players.
Oh,
And in a
absolutely.
world where a lot of times we feel pretty powerless. And I mean, like that was part of my initial draw to the game as like an adolescent, as I felt incredibly powerless in the world around me.
Yeah.
And in this place, you know, this inside that golden circle, I had power. And I still, against broad social trends, pandemics, the rise of certain isms in our national politics, like I still feel pretty powerless. And so it's nice to come into a situation where I have competence and some measure of control, but there can still be some consequences, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's also nice to have an environment where you can let your hair down and make a mistake, like insulting the mayor or flubbing the roll on whatever, or just flat out attacking the orcs instead of trying to negotiate them over complex territory and water rights. But
Or
Jesse,
are you trying to renegotiate the price when you're on a boat full of pirates paid by the megacorp that's hiring you to go to Amazonia for this run?
Jesse, how do you go from being the adolescent power fantasy to a grown-up and matured gaming cuck like me who enjoys giving power
God, I hate that
and
word,
agency
but it's also very
to the
funny.
players? Because that's what gets me off.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have phrased it that way. I was just trying to continue the joke. But that's what I like about role-playing games now. I used to be the kid who wanted to roll dice and get big numbers and blow shit up and the power fantasy. And now it's like my whole thing is like I want to create something, throw it at the players, see what they do with it. Yes, and every single goddamn thing I can. And like enjoy what ends up playing out as a result. So like I love giving power and agency to the group. I think that's what gaming is for me.
I'm just now thinking for my game coming up tomorrow night for Dragonlance that like I'm going to be sitting there thinking every chair at this table is the cuck chair if we're doing it right. Sorry, we're just ungoverning our cylinders here.
Oh man, I'm having a power outage. I gotta go. I think power fantasy has negative connotations for me, but it is accurate when you don't think of it as a negative thing. But it could be in anything fantasy. It's a fantasy situation. It gives you a chance to try on something different. And I think that's awesome.
I mean, there was that extra credits that I was super into for a while about like gamifying education that was all about like the value of agency and how video games lead to an increase in agency because the circuit between cause and effect had much less severe consequences than real life and was more immediate. And I think RPGs do that. To answer your question of how do we move beyond the adolescent power fantasy gamer and into something maybe more productive with it, is like, I think also you can be interested in helping other people get their power too.
Mm-hmm.
And that leans into that authorial collaborative sort of thing.
The fantasy is that my friends and I all have power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And no one else.
Teamwork.
We're pulling that ladder up behind. I'm sorry, Chris. So the point is to give up authorial control then. Is that part of the point of a role-playing game?
To share it.
Yeah, not to give it up, but to share it, I think.
Okay. What's the difference?
What's the difference between giving it up and sharing it? Giving it up is that you don't intend to get it back. And sharing it means is that you want to retain some of it for yourself while also granting it to others.
Yeah. And that's
like I don't want my games to be like now all of a sudden Jason's character has rocket boots because he wants them and he has them. Right. Like I still want to have a measure of control to be like, now Jason, no. You can't have rocket boots.
But you can build them if you complete these quests.
That's right.
And take your friends along. Okay.
Yeah, there's that social contract that we're all going to kind of weigh in on things and make sure changes to the world status sit well with the group. And with most of the games that we play, there's one person who is kind of most responsible for that, or at least most responsible for getting the consensus of the group, right?
Mm-hmm. This is actually, I was also reading a Mage book, and I'm reading Mage 20th Anniversary Edition, which was published fairly recently. And one of the traditions of mages is the cult of ecstasy, or at least that's what they used to be called. And so, as you can imagine, of a gothic horror, edgy RPG written in the 90s, the cult of ecstasy in their original portrayal, despite being a group for the protagonists to be a part of, was problematic, I believe is the term.
It's very erotic.
Yes.
It was not erotic.
Yeah. So it was really, really interesting reading the tradition book for Mage 20th that's basically like, yeah, these guys were problematic. They've changed their rules thanks to reformers to be them like, don't be a fucking asshole is rule number one. And I'm like, this is a really interesting how that authorial tone has changed over time. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good thing. And it's nice to see that what is the point of an RPG that we can grow inside of an RPG.
I like the idea that the in fiction bullshit is in universe recognized as being bullshit, because I mean, that's the way it happens in the real world too. Like, oh, that wasn't great. And try to remove it from the history, real or fictional, is a mistake because then the learning opportunity is gone, right? But putting it in that context, when I was adding second edition Spelljammer material to my long-term D&D campaign, I was like cringing at most of the things going on in the different worlds in realm space is where Forgotten Realms takes place in the Spelljammer context. And I was like, okay, so that's how it was, or how a historian thought it was several hundred years ago. What's it like now? The problematic issues have been, to varying degrees, realized, and people have moved on, hopefully, and built better structures and societies upon those, while learning from the past, we hope.
Yeah, I didn't even get to that part. I got so turned off by the idea that there's an impermeable metal sphere in the sun where Elminster lives that has a portal to Yellowstone Park in the 1890s that he occasionally pops through to drink a beer on
Greenwood.
Earth. I was like, nope, I'm good. I was done with this book. I'm done. So nice to know I dodged
Greenwood,
a bullet there.
If you're listening, which I know you are, I really appreciate the Forgotten Realms. In fact, I love it, I've been told. But some of the things you volunteered weren't necessarily required. You could have kept those to yourselves. The breast milk thing. Anyways, what were you going to say, Maddie?
I was a little put off by Jesse calling him El Minister. Is that like his fucking rap name?
Yeah, he's the Minister. Yeah.
That's Spanish for
I
the
played
minister?
Baldur's Gate 3. They call him Elminster, not
I didn't get
Elminister.
that far, and that's one of the many D&D words that I had only ever read and never heard spoken aloud. Until I was like 18, I said Paladin. Wait, Paladin. I said Paladin until I was 18.
Yeah. And Natasha instead of Natasha. That was mine when I was a kid because I had never heard that word out loud. So
I don't know how I pronounce Portcullis, but I know it wasn't correctly.
Let me ask you guys this. Have you ever been to a bar?
Yes.
What now?
Yeah. Have you ever hung out with friends at a bar or struck up a conversation with a stranger at a bar? And then that person begins like, you're having a good time, you're talking, that person begins to spin a yarn, tell you about something about themselves or their life. And there comes this point where you're enjoying it, but you're like, this guy's full of shit. There's no way this happened. But you make this decision to let it happen anyway and just like continue to ask them questions because you're enjoying yourself and they're enjoying themselves. And that's a fucking role-playing game as far as I'm concerned. And so the point, that's kind of my answer as I start to catch up on where the conversation was going. Like for me, that's the point of a role-playing game. You can play it in the scaled down version, which is the bar example, or if you're like sitting next to somebody on a shuttle bus while you're waiting to get to your rental car and you're like, hey, I like your hat. What's I used to play minor league baseball, really? And then, whatever. Like that's the human experience. Stories, to Chris's point, being retold or blown out of proportion in my version, that's a role-playing game. It's we have free reign to just kind of sit around and bullshit each other and just enjoy it. And I think that's the point of a role-playing game.
There's a whole other side to this, and that's the game part. And games have rules. So what do you think are the point of rules in role-playing games?
Rules don't matter.
So are we saying then that a game has to have rules to be a game?
Hey, I'm rage baiting Jesse. I'm sorry. You won't like him when he's angry.
I mean, I went through the first version of this topic with him when he was so angry.
Funny.
Yeah, now I'm comedically angry because this person I respect can't obviously believe such an insane thing they've just said.
I think all those things matter to varying degrees, and it's very situational. Like when I ran games and helped middle schoolers run games, you can't get too hung up on the rules with kids in like 6th, 7th grade. they need to be entertained. It's critical, and they need a chance to express themselves. I did tell them that they couldn't light the damp vines on fire around a swamp. It was the Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign, I think. Like I had expressly said, per the description of the scene, that it's soaked. I let them start a small fire.
Mm-hmm.
Did I make the right choice? I'm not sure. They really wanted to burn stuff, but I just, like.
You just had a room full of middle schoolers. They wanted to start a fire. You got to let those middle schoolers start a fire. Ungovern your cylinder. Rules don't matter.
Have you met middle schoolers? It's scary.
I have a very soon to be one sleeping right above me right now.
And what should I tell them about fires next time I see those kids?
Fire bad, no.
Fire's not always a solution, guys. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, like, okay, we could sit around improving a story to have this shared communicative experience, like talking to someone at the bar or on the shuttle bus or whatever, though I don't typically do this with strangers. I know that's not every human being's played share experience. There's a bunch of people paying to play games, playing with strangers they meet online. The pandemic really blew open the options for everybody. But I tend to play with people that I actually know. And we are getting a story out of it. But we're not choosing to just sit around and just tell a story. We've got dice and rules. And that, to me, adds this whole other different element. For me also, too, as like the power fantasy in the positive sense, the competence with the rules is a thing that matters to me. It's a thing that brings me a deep-seated sense of enjoyment of figuring this system out. But that's part of my personality. There are some puzzles, but not riddles, that I like and like solving.
Isn't that a method of telling the story? Aren't the rules and the dice part of the storytelling method?
Yeah, I mean, they create a narrative friction that is something that asks us all, as the people engaged in this behavior, to give up that authorial control to what random fate or chance has to say about what's happening.
Is it wise? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, can you guys think of any other human endeavors as moderns that we do where you do that? I mean, we don't necessarily go to oracles anymore, so.
Can you be more specific?
Like, we have this thing where there's a story. We're going to raise the stakes for the story of what's happening. And then we're going to let random chance decide what happens next.
The only other option is to join an improv group. And is that even cringier than being a hardcore RPG player?
It's worse.
I leave it up to you, the audience.
I think it depends on if they're good or not.
Yeah.
Define good.
I mean, really funny. Like, I had a friend who did improv and I went to one of his shows. They were really, really funny.
I mean, we used to have this improv show in Chicago called Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind. And I used to go frequently. And that's the only improv show that I could even tolerate, let alone find funny. And I found it funny often. It was really good. I don't know what's happened to it since then. It's been a long time. But to answer your question, Jesse, church.
Yeah.
Church is a place where a story is told and things then can randomly happen as a result of that story being told. You have a pastor who gives you his interpretation of the story that he's communicating from the Bible, or the lesson that he's trying to teach about humility, sacrifice, forgiveness, all of these things. And there are several random components that come into the mix. How the congregation receives that message, and where they take it in the rest of their life. Now, are they rolling dice at church? Probably not. But so maybe that
he's out of line,
question.
But he's right. I don't know which church y'all guys went to, but I would suggest never describing it in this context to someone that goes to church a lot. But you're not wrong. I like it. It's
I mean, I think too, like, that's what Bible study is, right? People are gathering together to reshape this narrative that they're all being told.
Don't tell them that. Just don't say that around anybody who goes to a Bible study regularly.
I try to be respectful.
In my time.
I try to be respectful of religion as a culture, even if I don't share the belief system, but what I can't help doing is interpreting it and reproducing it from a third person perspective, like an analytical pulled out perspective. So I will apologize up front for doing that, Ben.
I don't care if I offend religious people. I've fully uncovered my cylinder and I drink absinthe. So I am the future you fear. No, I don't know. I have described unironically my RPG sessions as church. It has a regular schedule. It is a community of people I feel invested in and care about. It has a ritual. And I think to me, that's part of the rules and the dice rolling. It is that sense of ritual of toying with fate, that in ways that don't really have anything. Can I change subject to another aspect real quick?
Yeah, you're the host.
Leap off that. Okay.
You're the primary.
So the other thing about the point of role-playing games is, and I know Chris is going to disagree with this statement, but violence as conversation. Violence and rules for violence are an essential part of, I'm gonna throw this out there, and I know there are exceptions, but probably the vast majority of tabletop role-playing games are centered around violence and the potential for violence as part of the conversation.
The violence inherent in the system, man.
Mm-hmm. Help, I'm being repressed.
I think the violent part, though, is just a reflection of Chris's earlier comment about the age of role-playing games. I think in the future, as we mature and grow, violence will not be as big of a part of role-playing games as it is now.
That's the curve we're on for sure. I'm okay with it as an option when that's the expectation sometime, but I'm really enjoying exploring RPGs and games where it's less of the point, right?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, another point of RPGs is a bit of catharsis. And in my real life, I am not a violent person at all. Like I abhor real life violence. I find it frightening and disturbing, and I am fully an absinthe drinking modern to keep kicking that dead horse. But that doesn't mean that the narratively driven impulse to violence that I think we all inherit as people living in the United States isn't there. And having this place where I can do it with no consequence to real people and like vent my spleen, as it were, is a thing that I really appreciate getting to do. Especially over the last like year and a half where I've been like, I'm going to make a fighter as my project, you know?
So is violence core to a role-playing game now, even if I don't believe it will be in the future?
I mean, I think I don't know that we are at like right now, the majority of RPGs, if you just name, like, what would you say are the top 5 RPGs?
I mean, D&D is the majority of RPGs.
D&D is the vast majority, and like,
yeah, D&D is the top 5.
Yeah, D&D, Eberron, Exandria. No, I mean, like, violence is core to the rules of Dungeons and Dragons. I know
and the next 5 RPGs.
Yeah, I know people are out there who be like, oh, you don't have to do violence in D&D. I know you don't have to, but like, I don't know a game where you're just rolling skill checks is terribly satisfying.
You'll need to play Traveler, right? We rolled up characters.
Yeah.
You put those characters into a situation with, you're going to want to avoid violence. Because again, 1 or 2 bullets and your character might be taking the long nap.
I'm playing in a Call of Cthulhu game, and every time it comes to violence, I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Like, we still engage in it because it makes sense in the story, but we're also playing we're playing our PCs like stolen cars. Draw steel, violence.
I mean, what would be the point?
Violence.
The genre.
What would be the point of playing Dungeons and Dragons if you weren't going to use violence? 90% of your character sheet is for violence.
To either adopt or kiss the monsters is a popular new aspect of D&D, which I find hilarious.
Well, as a 45-year-old white man, let me be the first to say, no, wrong. I'm kidding.
No judgment here.
Mild judgment that I'm trying to get over.
Everybody's of age.
That's true.
Say that again, sorry.
Mild judgment here, but I'm trying to be better.
All right,
Okay.
kissable aliens in the Traveler campaign. We're not going to play. I'll put that down just in case.
I'm like, do I need to start trying to flirt with my friends through role-playing games? That seems to be the modern consensus.
You just need to throw it all out there and see what hits. If they want to
Really
fight it, let
ungovern the
them fight
cylinder.
it. Yeah. If they want to kiss it, they can kiss it off screen if it makes you uncomfortable.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the monster. I thought you were talking about me flirting with my friends. And then you said, if they want to fight it, let it fight it. I'm like, I don't know that that's appropriate flirting.
Fight your friends.
I'm just going to throw this out there. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, just toss it back. Okay. Cool. Is an RPG about story or is it about process?
It's about
Define
story.
process. Yeah. I mean, that's my gut reaction.
We have
mean?
rules, right? We have these characters. We have this way of simulating random chance, and we might have an idea or an outline of a story, but the story isn't necessarily fulfilled until we go through this process of play. And in that process of play, unexpected things from the perspective of everyone involved in telling this story together happen all the time. So then is it about we set out to tell this story, or is it about a process that generates a story?
I mean, we set out to play a game wherein a story will be told. It's a little column A, column B situation. That's a very boring response, but
I think it's all story. I don't even think process is part of it. I mean, because it has to be, because a role-playing game, I guess, has to have process, but it's like the powered by the apocalypse ethos for apocalypse world, right? If you're having trouble getting the game started, just tell them to go around and do stuff, and eventually somebody will screw up a die, and then you have a role-playing game, right? They'll screw up a roll. So it's like, even if you have no story going into it, a story will be told by doing the role-playing game. And I don't necessarily know if you need process to do that. Process is best practices in order to make sure it runs as smooth as possible. I think
mean,
it's all story.
This is what it takes to get people together to tell stories. We're adults in our culture that we exist in. You need to buy something, of course, and then you need to schedule it on your Google Calendar. And then you got to show up and open the books and have the sheets that are printed off and write things down or type it into the PDF. That's form fillable, thankfully. And then you just have fun with your friends, right? We need these trappings apparently to get together and do it, and they inform the situation. And we love games and we love mechanics, or we probably wouldn't be doing this particular activity. We might be in an improv group, right? Or just not doing anything at all, which would
or a writer's group.
Yeah, that would work too. And these things can all be gateways into each other and connected to each other. I think people that have done improv or acting have gotten into RPGs and vice versa, or become writers. I've got a friend that's playing Will's solo RPG transformation, and she got through that and then just kept writing. So she might be working on a novel at this point.
That's awesome.
One thing can lead to another.
Yeah, I mean, because I think RPGs are art. And it's good that they inspire art. But here's, I think, my last question on this topic for you guys. Has an RPG ever taught you something that you didn't necessarily consent to learn?
Yes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like?
My entire personality.
I did not seek self-discovery.
I can speak in front of people. I can lead a project. I can present to a group of people who can decide the fate of my job, a project, or an important thing in my life, because I run role-playing games. It's made me more extroverted. It's made me more accepting. It's made me more patient. It's made me more curious about how things work. I can't imagine what my life would be like without role-playing games, because it's been so pivotal in helping to craft who I am as an individual. Like, I don't know who this person would be without Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Chris?
Oh man, Maddie just really made me remember high school and trying to run a table of way too many players that were way too distracted and not nearly invested enough. And I didn't run games for like 10 years after high school, but when I did, like just being adults helped a lot. But that experience, I think, running a guild in World of Warcraft and doing many years of Taekwondo, like all these things have given me the experiences to be able to do things like management and project leadership, in my job and my day to day, just being able to talk to people and yeah, formative for sure.
Cool. For me, I mean, RPGs have taught me how much it's micro community, but they've taught me how much I really care about community and how social I actually am because and that was, I mean, partly a lesson of the pandemic when I suddenly lost access to that. And I was like, oh, I knew that D&D was important to me, but I didn't know it was this important to me. Like this
even introverts need to socialize, it turns out.
Yeah, I guess social mammals need social things. So yeah, there's that. And then also I am being really deliberately basic as a player these days. Because I'm curious about that experience. Because my previous history that Maddie's been there for a lot of has been like, I'm going to play the monstrous and try to make it human. And I'm learning stuff about myself through that. It's stuff I'm signing up to learn. But I just, I can try out aspects of a personality or a thought I'm having or an aspect of a story that I think is interesting through a tabletop role-playing game. And to me, that's the point, getting to learn about myself and learn values while feeling a sense of competence from these mechanics and telling a story with my friends. Oh my God, this is the best hobby ever. More people need to do it. Mm-hmm. Maybe not to the point of decades and literally tens of thousands of dollars at this point, but it's a hobby and you got to spend money on them. As Chris has said, with a certain amount of bitterness.
I'm sure I'll read all these books eventually.
Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. How's that Humble bundle for World of Darkness coming for you?
Oh, man. I don't think I've downloaded it yet.
Okay. When you get around to it, we can talk. I got ideas.
Hell yeah.
Maddie, any last thoughts, comments, concerns?
I want to hear about Chris's World of Warcraft guild.
Okay.
Started with my paintball team, and I told them we were playing World of Warcraft now, and that was fun.
What was the guild name?
Wolfguard, which was the name of our paintball team, which was inspired by the Space Wolves from Warhammer 40K.
Nice. Alliance or Horde?
Oh, Horde, of course. God, only the boringest vanilla people play Alliance. No judgment.
I currently play Alliance.
Yes. Yeah.
I actually play both now because they've made it so much easier now to just play whatever character you want. Except if you want to do questing, you can't do that duo faction. But my wife and I play, and she won't play Horde, so I am an Alliance player now by default.
My first character was Alliance, but man, I've been off that stuff. I got in the manner of a methadone. I got on the League of Legends, and thankfully, I'm totally clean of that as well now too. I'm happy to report. But there was a good 7 years where we played a whole lot of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, the video game thing beyond chill 4X games that none of my friends have time to play with me. And so this is my solo video gaming. Age has visibly robbed me of my competence in player versus player video game experiences. I cannot PvP for crap in World of Warcraft, and I don't think it's just a matter of time and practice. League of Legends, I tried. It was fun, neat little cartoon graphics. I liked the characters. I had favorites, but man, kids were just faster than me. And in a TTRPG, age only makes me more powerful. So this is the hobby for me.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Did you guys raid in Wolfguard?
We did the Tin Mans, and Wrath of the Lich King was our peak, a little before and a little after, but yeah, we never quite killed what's his name? Angus Arby's? Whatever the Lich King's name is. I know it's
Angus
A,
the
right?
Lich King.
You killed it. You got it right the first time.
No,
you
we
know?
got to that fight.
Obviously,
and just,
a hardcore World of Warcraft player right there. Angus Arby's, the Lich King.
it was mostly like real life friends with other people we adopted along the way, but we just weren't willing to sacrifice our lives to the point to 100% seal the deal there.
If they were to make a World of Warcraft movie, Chris, who should play Angus Arby's?
Oh man, Dave Coulier for sure.
Oh my God. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yes. All right. Well, that's it for me. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay, cool. Final thought. What is the point of an RPG you're telling someone that's never played before? What do you say?
I say the point is to tell a shared story. I used to say drink some beers and eat some pretzels and have a good time. Not everybody drinks beers anymore. I don't even drink beers anymore. So I guess, have a shared story experience, do a little make believe, blow off some steam, have a little bit of fun.
Do a little dance, make a little love, get down
tonight.
Down
No, just you have to make a cool character, go on cool adventures, craft a story with your friends. At this point, most people have some cultural context thanks to things like Stranger Things and Critical Role and all the video RPGs like that Baldur's Gate 3 everybody's always going on about.
Yeah, get out your bingo cards.
Hey, do you want to do the most sincere and at the same time cringy thing ever with dragons this weekend? That's my pitch. Okay, cool. Well, we have been the Jaunty Mantis, and if you like what you heard or didn't, go ahead and leave us a comment below, like and subscribe, or leave us a review on Spotify or Apple if you're listening to the audio-only version. You can reach us at jauntymantis@gmail.com and on Blue Sky at Jaunty Mantis. Also on Instagram at Jaunty Mantis and on Threads at Jaunty Mantis. And just a little announcement, I have been working behind the scenes on getting a Discord set up. So 2026, Jaunty Mantis Discord, maybe no promises.
That should become the new tagline of the Jaunty Mantis. The Jaunty Mantis TTRPG podcast. Maybe no promises.
Well, it's up there. Technically content. Role player, rules lawyer, puppet fucker, which is my personal favorite, to be honest.
That's going to be the name of our role-playing game.
Yeah. Ungovern your cylinder and maybe no promises. It's our 4 t-shirt ideas.
Yes.
Okay. Well, until then, get out there and play those fucking role-playing games.
Do it and let the English see you do it.
Rules don't matter.